Hello, future bestsellers. We are super, super excited to see you guys today. Ta-da! Here we are. I will tell you during the 5 minute sprint that I will be closing a bunch of windows because my computer has like every possible tab opened, and I do not want us to freeze up 18 times during the sprint. So before we get started with that, last week I completely forgot our intros. So let's start them this week. Robert, please tell us a little about you and your awesome channel, aka Story Detective.
My channel is The Story Detective, where I take various forms of storytelling and place them under my Sherlockian lens and break down the craft to make the viewer's journey easier. Lots of videos there on a variety of subjects, also tech reviews and some gadget reviews.
All kinds of good stuff. All
Yeah.
kinds of good stuff over there. Thank you so much, as always, for being here today. Michelle Schusterman, the fabulous. Please tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write middle grade and young adult novels. My channel has videos with writing vlogs, traditional publishing chat, and writing workshops.
Very nice. All good stuff over there. If you guys have not checked that out, you definitely should. And I'm Lisa Daly. I am a book coach and USA Today bestselling author. And on my channel, we talk about how to write a book you're super proud of and get it published. So let's say hi to our friends in the chat so far. We've got story. Well, this is you. Oh, that's funny. Sorry, my brain today, not good. Not its best.
That's
Mama
my brain. I
Ward
didn't know
is
if I
here.
was here or not.
I know. We got a very light crowd this morning, so I don't know if that's StreamYard or if YouTube has not set out the notifications. But I'm sure. There we go. There's everybody. Mama Ward is here. Hello, lovelies. Very nice to see you today. Hello, Alice. We are super happy to have you here today. Welcome. How is everyone this month? I missed everything in May due to more 2020's chaos. This decade, man, is going to go down in the history books for sure. If any of us are still left here to read them, yeah, it's been a year. So glad you're here, and I can completely relate to missing entire months. Honestly, Lisa McLeod is here. Hello, super glad to see you today. Very nice. Okay. What is everybody working on today?
Well, I am all flustered and will be mainlining coffee because I slept late and I had a call with a website designer because I am finally, after doing this for well over a decade, hiring an actual professional instead of having just a Wix site. And so I got off the call literally right before the live stream started, and she gave me a bunch of websites to look at like aesthetics and stuff. So I should be writing, but that's really what I'm going to be doing.
That you're going to be doing that. You know what? Your website is part of your author marketing, and author marketing is an important
part of the gig.
It's part of the gig. That's
sometimes
exactly
it's actually fun.
It is fun. I know. I do love a new website. I do love a new website. Hold on one second because you've earned it, baby. It's hard. It's hard when you own or when you have a website that works well enough to think to invest in all that stuff. But one of the things that, because search, especially with Google, right? They've done all of this AI and this search. My brain today. When you type in a search query like best horror novels into Google, the person you get typically is the AI response, right? And it's becoming harder and harder for people with your average everyday website to get noticed. And so it's more important now that you are setting up your website in a way that allows those large language models, AI, to figure out who you are and assign some sort of entity. And so a new website right now is a very small decision.
Thank you.
That's what I was trying to say in a very
for,
clunky
justifying
the money that you invariably will spend. You know what? It's so worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
I'm very excited.
I know. I'm in process of a new website myself, and I'm very
Oh,
excited
cool.
about it. Well, same, right? I have had my temporary website up for I don't know, like 4 or 5 years. The temporary one that was just going to be for a couple of months until I got the like full on beautiful site. And then, life happened and I never got around to it, and it was working okay. And yeah, and so finally actually I made a decision to convert my old like author website to a Shopify store for my fiction. So I still have like pretty website, but now it's more functional. Although don't push the buy buttons yet because that part isn't working.
Okay.
It's still in process. We're doing like the move over, and it was not going to be, because I'm using the same domain name. It wasn't like a thing where like we could have built the whole thing out, but there was a date thing that I was trying to get around. Anyway, all right, let's do a 5-minute warm up sprint, you guys. Any more comments? Yay! Oh, we've got some folks over here. Let's say hi before we hit our first 5-minute sprint. Author Lainey Davis drafting my next hockey romance off. Also swooning over Michelle's shirt. Let's see it, Michelle. Can you give us a little? There you go.
Let me
Get over your thing.
There we go.
Oh, I love it. What a cool throwback. That's awesome. That is totally awesome. I love that. Very nice for calling that out, Lainey. Good job. Lisa, re-outlining my novella, looking for a good outlining tool for a female coming of age novella. We'll talk about that. Let's see. I know this is the thing. Let me just say this. I know Lisa McLeod to be naturally a discovery writer or a pantser. And that's not going to work for this particular project. So I'm like, even though for some people it's like, oh, that's good, this is like a big growth thing for her. So yay for that. Very proud of you. And it will help you so much to outline, I promise. I know you already have an outline, but to really refine it for what you're doing, the more you can think that stuff through with a novel, the better it is. Okay, wait. Refinalizing Stars Over Pagosa, because when I went to upload the final copy for the June 10th release, I found it and 2 other documents I worked on at the beginning of May to be. What?
Oh my gosh.
No. No.
May really was a disaster.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. We might need a crying break this morning. Oh my god.
Oh my god. No, I'm sorry. I'm reading this comment again. So are we blaming Word? Who's to blame for this?
Who's to blame? Who shall we direct our psychic
Am I
hate
mad
towards?
am I mad at like Apple, or am I mad at Microsoft?
I think it's safe to say that you can default to being mad at Microsoft. It might be Apple, but you could default to being mad. Oh my gosh, that has happened to me before, like sections of a book, but never a whole book. Never a whole book. Oh my gosh, that's a rough one. Haven't written in a while, so I'm just winging it with something new to get going. Love that vibe. Love that. Right? Mm-hmm. Well, if you do love a fun hockey cozy, Lainey, well, I wouldn't call them cozy. If you love a fun hockey story, Lainey Davis is a great place to start with. Hello, Daisies. Super glad to see you guys today. This is the before outline and the after outline, and never shall they match. That is true. That is true. Yeah, it's just like some authors do it, but I mean, lots of authors, about half of authors do it, but it's especially for your first novel. And the thing is, for you, like, I know that this book will have a lot of emotional depth, because that is your, like, understanding people's psychology and their motivations is Lisa's superpower. And so, like, she has made every book I've ever sent to her better just by saying, well, why would he do that? Or, you know what I mean? Like, the most, like, you think you've got it, but it doesn't quite ring true. And she is like, I don't know anybody who's got, you know what? I do know somebody. My daughter is actually that way too. Although she is not, she's like a young Lisa McLeod as far as that ability to understand people. All right.
Those are complicated. I mean, trying to pants one for me doesn't work or hasn't worked. I just pantsed a novella, but that's after going through several novels and figuring out structure,
Right.
reading other people's, and then I found out that I could sit down and do it. But before that, it was so complex, I would often get lost and have to rework it, and it's like, no.
This is the reason to outline, so you don't have to rework it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you got to figure all that stuff out of the like either way. You're either figuring out while writing or you're figuring it out while outlining, and so it just depends on kind of how your brain works or whether or not. But I'd rather figure it out before I start writing. Although Lisa's a faster writer than I am, so it does. I mean, and the woman has produced many books before this novel. So, but yeah, I think with fiction it's easier if you can. All right, Matt. Matt says, "I'm not writing. I'm clearing files. I've had so many copied and mixed together. 10,000 individual Scrivener copies of everything. Files cleared from Dropbox plus however many on USB. 80% done. Look at you. Nice." The copies from the end of April were in my digital backup. Oh, I blame Word. Yes. Yeah.
I always blame Word.
I know they're the worst. It's the worst. Yeah, that is the truth, right? Exactly.
I used to lose a lot of stuff on Microsoft. That's why when I switched over to Apple, so far their cloud hasn't let me down, but I still back it up on a drive aside from that, because you can't completely trust the cloud. Not forever. Business change and then they start to change.
Yeah. Well, right. And you just don't know. Plus, the other thing about the cloud is I'm becoming increasingly worried about the terms of service that none of us ever read for anything. Yeah. Because what if everything that you upload to and I don't know if this is true, this is just me being fearful. What if Google has, changes 3 lines of copy in their user agreement, and everything you upload, including all your books, your book manuscripts, is their manuscripts, manuscripts and manuscript. I think we all have manuscripts.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
they go at the end of the book where you have all those like paragraphs and lines that you're not ready to delete, but that don't actually fit in your actual book so far. Mm-hmm. I've got plenty of manuscripts too. But what if that we've accidentally clicked yes on something, or will in the very near future, that says, yeah, hey, if you store it, on your Google Drive or in Dropbox or whatever, wherever it is, that we have the right to teach our robots on that.
I don't trust Google, and I don't trust Google Docs. After they said they were scanning work through Google Docs, I'm like, well, why wouldn't they? They took everybody else's work.
Right.
So I'm like,
right.
I don't put it there unless I absolutely have to.
Exactly. I know. I feel it. Lisa, backup monthly. So I never use more than a few weeks of work, but Stars Over Pagosa is on pre-order. So I have to get right. Because you have a first, so let's talk about the terror of this. So you schedule a pre-order, and you have to make your pre-order date, which is actually about 5 days. So she's got probably 2 more days to get this up. If you miss that upload deadline, you're locked out, and they will not let you upload another pre-order for another year. Now, sometimes you can beg and get out of Amazon jail, but that's the default. They will give you the opportunity to do one 30-day extension if you get there again before that 5-day cutoff, not after the fact. But then you're pissing off some readers and things like that. So I feel your pain. You are going to get it. You're going to get it. Maz uses Dropbox. You can read it, but it doesn't. I mean, you understand. I just know it's so they make it 7,000 pages for a reason. I mean, yeah. Oh my gosh, I had to open Office, delete an essay, and I will never use it again. I stopped. I'll tell you guys the time when I stopped using Office. I had been using an old copy of Microsoft Word for Mac 2008 because I had bought whatever the one that came after that was. I don't remember what year it was, but I had bought that one, and it would constantly crash and lose all my work. And this is before it was a subscription. And so when you would just buy the software, and so I continue to use 2008 because I refuse to pay a subscription or use the new one that, like, when the 2008 version worked so well. And so I continue to use that 2008 version until just like a couple years ago, when my MacBook was like, no, this doesn't work on here anymore. And then I just stopped using Microsoft Word altogether. But I will say, the entire time I used it, I hated it. So yeah, there you go. Okay, here we go. My laptop exploded. Not really. That was metaphorically. Metaphorically. But it feels real, doesn't it? Oh gosh. Oh, sorry. I thought that was something I said.
Whoa.
That sucks. Oh,
Oh my
that's the
God.
worst.
I didn't even know that could happen.
I didn't. Well,
Crazy.
except on an airplane, but yeah. Oh gosh, that's awful. Okay, let's do our first 5-minute warm-up sprint, because we are ready to get rolling today, and then we'll come back and chit chat just a little bit, because we're falling a little bit behind today, and come back and do our first like regular writing sprint. All right, here we go, everybody. 5 minutes to get your drink. I think I'm going to need some caffeine this morning, and get your documents open and figure out what you're going to work on today. Starting in 3, All right, we are back. There we go. Let me get all this stuff going here. So how'd everybody do on that first sprint? Let us know in the chat. All right, fantastic. Okay, sorry. I'm like trying to like shut this thing down, do this. I think that you would think I'd be better at producing a live stream after all of this time, but it's at the end of it, just too many buttons to push at one time. So I'm sure the kids can do it, but yeah. Let's see. Danielle's here. I'll be writing soon. I'm still tired. I totally feel that. I took my whole 5 minutes. I did. Look, this is how bad it was. I got a Coke. I've been pretty much off Coke recently, but I just am so tired today that I was like,
Sometimes you need it.
Right? That's it. I need those bubbles shooting caffeine and sugar to my brain. Yeah, with like the force of a fire hose until I am adequately awake. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So scary to have your laptop catch on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
I know. Although now I'm imagining typing my new story so fast that my keyboard catches on fire. Sorry. It's just one of those days. Yeah. Review difference between male coming of age versus female, extra journey versus external journey versus inward. So yeah, that's true, right? Yeah, that is very true. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously you can always flip the script on that. But typically, if you think about it, that is how those stories go. And even when we have female coming of age where there is an external journey, you also get a lot of that internal journey as well. I don't know. Anybody else disagree? Can you guys think of any books that are coming of age that play against this sort of external journey versus internal figuring out who you are journey? I'd be interested. I'm trying to think of one of my maybe we'll talk about it on the next sprint because I can't. Can you? I'm sure there is one. All right.
Not so much books in general. What came to my mind is just what I've told so many clients is they don't have that internal journey. So the whole emotional core is missing and it's reactionary. So the character doesn't go very deep. And you need that internal, their external is really a reflection of what they're going through and what they have to overcome and grow from. And that's missing from so many self-published novels that I think it would revolutionize self-publishing if people just realize that emotional core is your novel.
Well, right. I mean, that's true. Your character does have to change throughout the course of the story. That is right. They have to have some realization. I have a good friend who's an author who's been a pretty successful author, but his series at some point fell off a cliff. And the reason was that the main character never really grew. Like he just kept making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And don't get me wrong, we love reading about characters who continue to F up their own lives and other people's lives, right? That's compelling. Making trouble for your characters making trouble for themselves. That is all, right there. It has to be in the mix for really good fiction. But if your characters, just like with humans, if you have like when someone is struggling with something and at the beginning of the struggle and you can see that they're really trying and they, even if they fall off the wagon several times, by the time you get to the 28th time or the 29th time, it's harder to invest in their journey. And I think that is the same thing that happened with, and I don't want to say his name, but with that particular series that I mentioned. And I think that happens a lot just in individual books that in romance, the main characters have to overcome some personal obstacle, their fear of commitment or their inability to trust people or the fact that they just really like being alone, doing their own stuff, that they have to overcome something in order for the relationship to happen in the third act. But when you are talking about a coming of age story, it's possible, I suppose, to do it where they don't learn an external journey where the character doesn't learn very much, but it's not going to resonate in the same
Yeah.
way.
I think the reader still needs to connect with what they're going through emotionally, whether they learn, whether they don't learn. We used to get the advice that when the reader opens your book, they want to fall in love with your character. I kind of disagree with that because they can hate your character too, because there's some very dislikable characters out there, but you need to have that emotional connection, whether
Yeah.
it's good or bad, to invest in. Otherwise, they're not investing. And I
Right.
blame Save the Cat for that. It's not entirely Save the Cat's fault, but it's a
There's some
diagram
truth
of
to
plotting.
that.
There's no characterization in that. And so many new writers are following that verbatim that they think that's all there is to it. And it's like, no, that's a book for beats for plotting. And it's not
Yeah.
even a very well plotted structure.
Yeah. I totally get that. I actually just had a thought. I need to think about this book for a second because I haven't read it in a long time. And so I need to I just want to do a quick review, but so I'm going to think about it a little bit. But Maz has a great question. Can you explain what an external and internal journey is, please? Yes, we will be happy to do that. First, we are going to do our 20-minute sprint, but we will talk about this when we come back. Ooh, this is good. You know what's so funny, Mama Ward? I also thought about the Hunger Games. It is more of a hero's journey, and it's a very physical journey for her, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is a very, like, especially the first book, which is the Hunger Games. She really does have more of a, like, she's sort of coming into her own as a smart warrior and a badass. And she does also have that emotional journey, but her initial journey is very physical. And I think that's part of the reason that book series appealed so widely to both boys and girls, men and women, was because you had this kind of badassery from Katniss, this very physical life or death heroine's journey, but also you have the love story and the emotional growth and all of that. So, all right, let's go ahead. I'm sorry, did I just cut you off, Robert?
I was going to say there's some very clever uses of structure in that first book too, and the structure points sometimes turn on the physical and sometimes the emotional. Yeah,
exactly. I know it's funny because it was a young adult book. It had to count as young adult, I think, right? Was it? I think it qualified because there was a little too much violence in the age of the characters.
Hunger Games?
Yeah, young adult.
Oh, it's young adult, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. I know, who should we ask? Our middle grade / YA, right?
I am not sure you could sell a middle grade series about fighting to the death.
I know. Well, let me tell you a funny story about that though, because my son was not that old when he loved that series.
Yeah.
And when the first movie came out, it was like one of those, like, we had to get tickets. We saw the very first showing after school on the day the book came out, right? But I had not read the book, and my daughter is 4 years younger than my son was, and he was on, like, both of my kids very early readers, so even he was a little on the younger side. I think he was like in middle school maybe. Anyway, so we get to the parking lot of the movie theater after school. We've rushed there. I've gotten everything all ready to go. And then he says in the parking lot, like, I'm not sure if this movie's going to be appropriate for his sister. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then we ultimately decided to go, and it was not, it was a little more violent than I would normally have taken my whatever kindergarten daughter to. I don't remember how old she was.
Look, my first movie. Do you want to take a guess what my first movie was when I was 8 years old?
What? Jaws.
Baseballs.
Well, oh my gosh.
Baseballs.
Really?
My parents were like, why did we take her to a Mel Brooks movie? I loved it. I still love it.
Oh my god!
But it's not really 8-year-old appropriate.
No. Well, the Horror Geek, like, one of the earliest movies he saw was Jaws. Like,
nice,
right?
That explains a lot.
It does explain a lot. And also, Robert, you had said something before about that you really have to have, like, identify with one of the characters, whether it's a good character or a bad character, or not good or bad characters, I guess, whether it's a villain or a hero or heroine. And the Horror Geek, watcher of Jaws at a young age, lover of horror movies, he always loves the bad guy. He loves Darth Vader, like, for Star Wars, like Darth Vader from the time, right? Darth Vader is a great character. Well, until the end, right? Like, but the original Darth Vader, like, great character, fun, interesting. I could totally see that. All right, let's do Maz's question because I feel like I was like, oh, we'll answer that. No, we will. We need to write. I felt guilty because we went off track. Well, we didn't. We stayed kind of, but anyway. Let's do our sprint. When we come back, we're gonna come talk about Maz's question because it's a good one. All right, here we go. Dun, da, da. Let's share the screen. We've got this. Okay, everybody. We are going to do 20 minutes on the clock this time. And we are going to get that started in 3. I lost the window for a second. Sorry about that. You know how that is? Like you're
Oops. She got lost too.
Window's not the only one who's lost. Oh man, I was also very much zoned out. Hey,
Yeah.
she's back. At least you don't have sound now.
oh God. Okay, hold on one second. You guys talk.
Okay.
Okay. I can actually hear you.
Oh,
Muffled.
Although your audio was a little scratchy now and then. I think there was
Yeah.
okay. Here. Can you guys hear me
I
now?
don't know what is going on. But yeah, I spent that whole time looking at websites and stuff. Just research.
figure out a difficult scene, which it was a little too wordy in the past draft, so I have to fix it.
Which project is this?
It's back to the Sherlock Holmes novel. My goal is to finish this draft by the end of the month, since I'm on my own, since Georgie's going to be visiting her son for the month of June.
Hey, free time.
Right. That's when you get
Very
the best.
nice.
Right. Yay.
Cool.
Am I back?
No,
Ah,
you're not back.
Yeah. I still hear
What
you,
is this?
which is odd.
you
I
can
don't
hear
hear
me.
her at all.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can.
In the
Okay,
comments.
that's
Okay.
really weird.
Everybody can everybody
comments?
hear me?
Can you hear her?
Yes, it's you.
Oh wow, Matt says yes.
Okay, that's odd.
Yeah.
It's like completely muted for me.
And we can hear each other, so that is strange.
That's weird. Michelle, will you pop out and pop back in and see if that helps?
Okay.
Okay.
I think she said pop out, pop back in.
I
Yeah.
Okay, you
I can
guys,
lip read.
is it awesome that Michelle can like read my mind, even though
It
she
looks like
can't hear
everybody
me
in the
talk?
comments can hear you. So why am I the only one who can't? That's
Yeah.
bizarre.
Okay,
Mhm.
you go out.
You want me to pop out and pop back in?
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right. How do I do that?
Okay. That was so weird. I don't know. Like typically when I get lost on stream, like sometimes it just dumps me out, but a lot of times it's because I pushed a button or effed up in some way. So the fact that Michelle couldn't hear me after I came back, I'm sure is a weird StreamYard issue. But I'm glad that you guys can all hear. So we were having a fascinating conversation earlier. And I don't know what happened to Michelle. Like now she can't come back. she's not in the thing. So let's talk
Maybe she's
about
and resetting.
yeah, okay, there she is. Yay! Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you now. Yeah,
Okay.
that was so bizarre.
It was completely bizarre. What I was saying earlier that everybody else could hear that you couldn't was that it was crazy to me that I could say something and you would literally repeat back what I had said, even though you couldn't hear me. Like when I said, "Can you just pop out and come back in?" and you're like, "You what should like did you just say I should pop out and come back in?"
I
Like,
was lip reading.
I know, it's funny. So, and there was some other one where you repeated what I said exactly.
Oh,
word
that's
for
funny.
word. I know, hilarious.
Mind meld.
All right, let's talk. Yeah, well, we've all been doing this stream together for a long time, so it makes sense that we would sort of learn each other's, language in that way. Okay, Maz asked, "Is it?" I keep saying Maz or a little more Maz. So tell me, do you want us to say Maz or Maz? Write it phonetically in the chat, please. Okay, so can you explain what an external journey is versus an internal journey? Yes, absolutely, we can. Would anybody else like to get started, or you want me to just blab on?
I have quite a bit to say on this subject.
I could say it. Wait, are we talking about the? Yes, I could say something really succinct.
Great. Well, let's do both.
External is what you want, and internal is what you need.
That's
how I.
That is a really that's a really great little way to look at that. I like that. I always think of an external journey as like you have to physically go somewhere, test your body, leave your home to go fight a war or get the ring or get your country back or whatever, or get your kidnapped kid. Those are all external things. Internal things are the character has to realize that this pattern that they've been doing is messing up their lives, or they have to grow in some way emotionally, or they have to realize how their past, have that epiphany on the fact that that something that happened to them in their past is impacting their behavior, choices, situation today. That's the difference. Like, is the thing that the character needs to accomplish, because every character has a goal for the story that they need to accomplish, right? So is the goal something external that everybody else can see, getting to a place, getting the ring, fighting a fire, fighting a mean corporation, that kind of stuff? That's all external. Internal is the change that people can't see. You look like the same person on Tuesday that you are on Wednesday, but you are actually a much different person on Wednesday than you were on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I think the example I like, oh, I'm sorry, Robert, you go.
Well, basically, again, getting back to Save the Cat, and all these books are taken from movies, and it's plot based. And we have these arguments of like it's plot or character driving the story. It used to be that character was the structure, and structure was all done from character. You started a story with what does your character want badly, and everything externally was going to block what the character wanted, and it would change them because it affected them emotionally, and that emotional core needed to be revised in order for them to meet their goal. And now we're separating it, and I've heard like movie and screenwriters say character arc is the structure beneath the structure, as if it's different things. They're the same thing. If you don't have both, you don't have a novel. You can have a movie. And remember several years ago when
that's right, you can have a movie without characters growing.
Yeah, I took like Save the Cat and I did like a NaNoWriMo because I was starting late. I didn't have a story, and I said, okay, let's use Save the Cat and see where I get. What I got was a movie and there was no characters, and I looked at it and I said, it needs an actor to come in and flesh out the characters and play the part, because the characters aren't there, because that is a movie. And that's what you're getting from all these Save the Cats and different things that are based on plot structure. You do not have a character. You're writing a vessel for the character to come in and try to figure out, how am I melding with this, and how does this affect me personally? But when you're when you're writing a novel, the internal core, that has to be your character, and you are taking what they want badly and their lives that led up to that and what hurt them. That scar, that wound that Save the Cat is talking about.
Yeah.
They had a problem, and that problem is getting in the way. It's who they are and what they need to overcome as much as what they want. Yeah,
that is a really great explanation. It makes me think a lot about about Lisa McLeod's current character, about what, and it is about what she wants badly, but it's specifically about what she doesn't want badly. And that is that she wants to escape her persona as the dead guy's sister. That's what, like, it's interesting that you put it in as far as what you want, but it can also be you're escaping something that you don't want. You don't want to repeat your mother's mistakes. You don't want to, whatever, or your father's mistakes. Anyway, you don't want to do that. It's so funny to me because, like, the Horror Geek and I, he has to have the TV on before he goes to sleep, and so we end up like cycling through series that we can sleep to, like series that we have already seen 1,000 times that we can just fall asleep to, but still enjoy for the parts that when we're awake. And we are now back on Supernatural, which I do love. And one of the things that always strikes me about that show is how everybody talks about, in a lot of ways, how the father, John, is like this great father and all this. But what I see as a mother is a guy who left his kids alone in a motel room while he was off doing God knows what, trying to avenge the death of the mother, which I think the mother is going to want you to take care of her children and not leave them in a motel room in some random Kansas town. So, and there are points where the show, especially later on, where the show addresses the failings of John as a father. But there are lots of scenes where they're talking about him like he's like dad of the year. And I just think, like, no one who has ever parented children would think this guy is dad of the year. I think every single person in the writing room must have been childless for that to have happened.
Yeah.
So
kids too, when they have parents that are neglectful, will often think of the little things that they do to prove that they love their children. You know what I mean? They'll form that kind of dichotomy in their minds that they do care, but life is just getting in the way. They're busy. They're this. They're that. They make
Yeah.
excuses.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I just think like, yeah, I mean, that's so theoretically, like this guy's off like battling to save the world, but also like you still have the other response, especially if you're the only parent, you still have that other responsibility as well. All right, back to the movies we saw when we were way too young. I saw a movie. I don't even know what movie it was. I was probably 3 or 4, and I'm sure I don't remember who was there, but I'm sure the adults in the room thought that it was fine to like that a 3-year-old or 2-year-old would not like pick up on the content of the movie. But I remember the movie being really scary, and it was about this like rocking chair that had come to life, and it was like I still see the scene in my head where this rocking horse is like coming down the hallway to get whoever it was. Like I was so little. Yeah, I still have that scene like very, very just embedded in my brain. Lisa, Gone with the Wind at 6, embedded a lifetime response to problems, hand to the sky as God is my witness. I will rise again. Love that. Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Bed Knobs, and Broomstick. Oh my gosh, me too. When I was 5, and in the theater, The Dark Crystal and The Last Unicorn when I was 12. Trauma started early for 70s and 80s.
Kidding.
Kids.
The Never-Ending Story, Labyrinth, those things were dark and weird. I love them still.
They were. I know. We watched some kind of crazy stuff. That's true. Mary Putnam is here. Hello. Super, super glad to see you. Avi, I know I thought that we had maybe lost our notifications because we had a anyway, we're very glad you're here. All right, so here's all the I can hear yous. I have made it. Let's get past all that. I don't know what this means.
It's a Goonies reference, Lisa.
Oh, you know what's funny is I forgot about that. Had not seen that for a long time. So yeah, totally true. There's a K-drama on Netflix. Avi, another thing we have in common. We're currently watching Dr. Slump, which is kind of a really fun one. Yeah, the K-drama on Netflix called Wonder Fools, where the female main character teleports and she doesn't it's like Lisa disappeared. Bonus, she needs caffeine to teleport. Okay, putting that on the watch list. And also thank you. Maybe I'm secretly in a K-drama and I just don't know it. That could be it. There is a very fun, speaking of K-dramas, I'm going to move to K-pop very quickly because I'm a fan of K-pop. And there is a TikTok account of 4 random dudes. 3 of them decided that they were going to start a K-pop style boy band. They are called Boy Throb. None of them can sing. None of them can dance. My daughter introduced this to me last night. You guys are going to die. They decided they needed a 4th member, so they put it out to social media, and they got a guy from India who's in India while the rest of them are in the US. He also can't sing, but he can sing a little higher than the rest of them can. And they essentially have created this boy band. One of them is clearly an engineer because the songs are very highly produced. They did their first gig at a nursing home in matching pink tracksuits, and they now have over 1 million followers. They only started in like December, right?
Wow.
Multiple songs that are charting on Spotify. They only have 3 songs out, but I think 2 of them have hit the charts on Spotify. And they have a new collab dropping in June. And the person that they are collaborating with is Kesha.
Oh, wow.
4 guys who can't sing. And when they did like their nursing home gig, they had like I can't remember what the guy's name is, the Indian gentleman on Zoom in his pink tracksuit doing the whole thing. And it's hilarious. But while you guys have a chance, and I'm sure this will happen during the next sprint, look up Boy Throb, because
Boy Throb is a hilarious name, I have to say.
You can't. One of their songs is called Finger. One of them's called Can't Stop the Throb. They're very fun. Like the writing is kind of hilarious. It fits all the tropes,
Yeah.
but it also there's some humor, and also the fact that these boys can't sing or dance, and that somehow they have managed to put together, and they have a real manager now. Like all of this has happened in like 4 months, and part of it is just like their willingness to like lean into being themselves, and I just don't think that I have ever seen anything so delightful. So
That's very funny.
right, yeah. So consider Boy Throb for your next musical adventure. I just like thought it was, and the name and all the, and they are, and it very much is following sort of the K-pop trope. So all right, so that's your treat of the day, everybody. All right, so let's go ahead and get going on our next writing sprint. Dun dun dun. Wait, did I lose our, hold on, I lost our timer.
Well, when I was a
Let's see.
kid, I watched a lot of Universal monsters and old horror movies. So my parents took me to see Disney movies, and I hated them. They were just too tame.
I love them. You know, it's one of my saddest memories now is that I went to see Song of the South when I was a kid, and I loved the songs, but also I went to go see it with my bestie at the time, and his family, and they were an African American family, and I remember like loving how catchy the songs were, but also like feeling this real, like, I don't know, sense of weirdness. And I don't think I really recognized what that was. And of course, now, obviously, that movie is highly problematic. I mean, it was problematic at the time. It was just not something that was really addressed. But I always kind of wonder, like, because I was probably, I don't know how old I was when I saw it, but I was young. And I, like, at the time, like, I remember feeling uncomfortable, but I didn't remember why. Like, I didn't understand really why. So,
Right.
I took my best friend along with me when I bugged my parents to go see movies like Alien and The Howling. And he's sitting over there covering his eyes, and I'm looking at these effects, which were miles ahead at the time of the movies I was seeing on TV. And I was just like, yes.
It is interesting to me how that kind of stuff sticks with you, forms you. Yeah. I mean, I remember like my one of my kids' favorite movie when they were young was Spirit of the Cimarron, which was a Disney movie. It's about a horse in the Old West. It was like a Native American and a horse kind of bond when they're when the white people are encroaching and, you know, kidnapping various members of the tribe. And as a parent, I was like, there's a gun, there's shooting, there's kidnapping of indigenous people. Like, this is not good. But he loved the music and the horse so much that it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I will say he has grown up to be a very kind and loving human being. So it did not permanently impact his psyche, but at least not that way. But oh God, I know a lot of the stuff we saw as kids are things that probably would not be released today. Okay, and that's reasonable. Okay, let's go ahead and do our 20-minute sprint. Here we go. Starting in 3. All right, we are back. Let's get rid of that. There we go. How did everybody do on that last sprint? Let us know in the chat. Fantastic. Glad to do that. All right. Awesome. Michelle, you are muted. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Ta-da.
Hey, ta-da. Every accomplishment deserves a celebration. Yay! Very nice. So this is funny. Grindhouse Gospel. This is the Horror Geek second channel. Robert, it says Robert and I had the same childhood. Mama Ward, which movie of the 80s started your horror writer journey?
I'm not sure if I could name one single movie.
Interesting.
I mean, the Howling was a big one. I did love werewolves when I was a kid, and that transformation at the time was like an amazing thing.
Very
I
nice.
was obsessed and terrified by Freddy Krueger. Like that was a really big one. Him getting into your dreams, especially.
Right. I know. I
Yeah.
always think it was such a sort of genius little story device because right. I mean, dreams and people being afraid of it, like it really was very smart. Lainey's gonna bash out one more sprint while we're chatting because I have to go take children to the dentist.
Fair enough.
We get that. Very nice. Let's see if we've got some other stuff. Mama Ward says she's addicted to K-dramas. I'm happy with my K-drama, The Moon is Waxing, that I turned it into a right reading podcast. Nice. This is classic Avi. William Hung walked so Boy Throb could run.
That seems accurate.
And dance. Love that. That is awesome. Okay, let's see. Lisa McLeod says, saw someone in the South with my white South Carolina grandmother. She explained what poor white trash was and whispered, we have some of that in our family. Well, that's a nice revelation at the movies, Grandma. Thanks for telling us. Love that. Okay, so well, this is interesting. Lisa said, woman's journey is within gaining confidence that her own needs matter, that she is enough and doesn't have to serve everyone else. That is the truth. Let's see. Free Range Female says, it took me a while to find Robert's channel again. I always forget the spelling and I never seem to get notifications. Robert, I almost feel like
notifications is weird on YouTube now. It just doesn't work anymore.
It's been so bad lately. So bad. Okay. It's Maz rather than Mars. Okay, that's good. So Maz. Okay. Good. All right. Thank you very much. Lisa says, spiritual person I follow says the male journey is about them stepping outside of themselves to be of service to others and learning to care about something besides themselves. I think that's I think that is a key component in many coming of age stories. Lainey says, I think the Fratelli family is messing with Michelle. I love this, guys. That's great. All right, let's do the news before we do our last sprint of the day. Let me, it's time, my favorite part of the entire show every time, because I don't know why I love that so much, but I really do. Okay, that's part of the news itself, right? Here we go. Plot twists and paychecks. Today we are going to be talking about lawsuits, audiobooks, bookstores, AI, and one huge creepy trend that is becoming impossible to ignore. And that is the fact that the publishing industry is increasingly fighting AI companies in court while simultaneously adopting AI tools in their own businesses. And that is distressing. Story number one, 5 major publishers have sued Meta over llama training data. And this is going to be one of the biggest AI copyright lawsuits we've seen. All the major publishers coming in on this. And they are suing Meta, alleging that Meta used millions of copyrighted books and educational materials to train the llama AI models without permission. And The lawsuit alleges that Meta used pirated collections, obviously including material sourced through LibGen, to acquire training data. Similar bones to the other stuff. But the other thing is that they are simultaneously pursuing licensing agreements with these same AI companies that they're suing. And so what I'm wondering, what we're all wondering, is if that long-term money, is it going to come from lawsuits, and how do we benefit from that if you're traditionally published, or are they going to just license our stuff? And for most of us who have traditional publishing contracts, there isn't that's not a line item in our contracts. That's not something we even thought about. I mean, my first book came out in 2002. That was a really long time ago, and display rights was like a big thing if it might be on the internet. So the idea that they could license our stuff is terrible. Speaking of suing AI, CNN has filed a suit against Perplexity. They are alleging that the AI search company unlawfully reproduces and distributes CNN content. Now, this case is right. This case is kind of interesting because it's not so much about training data; it's about the output. And what CNN is saying is that Perplexity is generating responses that effectively replace the need to visit CNN's website. There's some truth to that. Story number 3, Spotify has partnered with 11 Labs. If you don't know them, they're an AI company to create audiobooks. They have announced an audio production partnership with 11 Labs, and the new tool allows authors and publishers to generate audiobooks using AI narration and distribute them through Spotify's audiobook ecosystem. The beta is going to launch in June. And what makes this different from all the other companies like Amazon and Google that are already doing this is that those companies say, if you use our AI to create an audiobook, then you can only sell it on Google, or you can only sell it on Apple, or you can only sell it on Amazon. Actually, I said I don't know if Apple does it. But Spotify is saying you can distribute this anywhere. So first thing to consider if you're thinking about this, do not assume that AI narration is automatically good enough. The quality is still very important to audiobook listeners. And the other thing is, like, you have to really think about this before you push the button, because on one hand, it makes audiobooks accessible essentially to every author, and that is something that's been cost prohibitive. The downside of that, obviously the other side of the coin, is that using tools like this put a lot of narrators out of business, and that is unfair because the training data that they use, once again, belongs to those artists. Story number 4, Spotify and bookshop.org physical book sales go live. We talked about this a couple times in the past few weeks, but that is now live. The Page Match program is also expanding internationally, and that is creating a direct path from audiobook discovery to the print purchase. And that is going to be great for a lot of us. Last thing, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit of good news, and we talked a little bit about this coming up, but the American Booksellers Association has reported that membership has reached its highest level since the late 1990s. And if you are not familiar with what happened in the late 1990s, that is when all of the big Barnes & Noble, warehouse kind of bookstores started coming into communities. And so the fact that we are seeing a huge resurgence of independent bookstores opening across the country, I think is absolutely, absolutely fantastic news. All right, everybody. If you want more publishing news, hot takes, and strategy behind today's stories, check out this week's edition of Plot Twists and Paychecks. I'm doing a little weekly roundup, and I'll link it below once the live stream is over. So thanks so much for that. I'm very excited about a lot of the stuff that's happening. I don't know, you guys, what do you think? I love the bookstores because I think a lot of them are romance bookstores. I always wondered why we have all those mystery indie bookstores, but we didn't really have very many romance. And there was two ladies from California who opened the Ripped Bodice. It did incredibly well. And that was, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe quite a long, 10 years ago. But one of the cool things is that we are maybe 20. I don't know how long they've been around. It's been a while. They were kind of the first. But now every day I'm seeing announcement of new romance bookstores that are opening, and I am here for it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's see what we've got here. Got a few comments left. Mama Ward says, what do you think about Draft to Digital basically turning themselves into a small indie author publishing subscription service? So I think that the Draft to Digital, they've made a lot of changes. And I think just from having talked to the folks that run it at Nink for several years, that I think they generally are trying to help indie authors get, kind of more out into the world. But I have to say, I'm not aware of a big change with their subscription service. So I don't think we have talked about this before, other than them expanding their distribution. So if there's something new, let us know and we'll look on it. XOXO is a romance bookstore in Las Vegas. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Avi says, one day Lisa will disappear, and I mean teleport after reading the news. That's entirely possible. That is entirely possible. All right, let's go ahead and do our next sprint because we have got to get that on the books before we head out. So we've got one more. Of course, I don't have the thing up. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys and gals. All right, here we go. Dun, dun, dun. All right. We are ready to roll. So last sprint on the clock. We're getting started in 3, 2, 1. Make it count, everybody. Okay, everybody, we are back from our last sprint. Oh, and it's 1:04, so we are done for the day. Before we go, I want to say goodbye to everybody and thank you all for being here with us. Quickly, let's go through our outros. Michelle, let's start with you, please.
All right, I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write middle grade and young adult novels. My channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Writing Vlogs.
Thank you so much for being here, as always. Robert Jones, tell us a little about you before you go.
My channel is The Story Detective, where I take various forms of storytelling and place them under my Sherlockian lens and break down the craft for the viewer to make your journey easier.
Very nice. And I'm Lisa Daly. And on my channel, we talk about how to write a book you are super proud of and get it published. Thank you all so much for being here. We will see you next Wednesday.
Take care, everybody.